I don't know where it's recording, but we are now recording. Okay. So welcome to our Intro to Leadership Academy meeting. So it's a pleasure to have those of you that are unable to be physically in the office here. We got some people in Idaho, some people in Wyoming, people, one or two that are on their way here. One or two of you are working with a child, and one of you is in Colorado. And then we have a bunch of people here in the office. So welcome Jessica and Rebecca from Provo. It's a pleasure to have Staley and Anthony, as I look at him and say the wrong name, and Abby, and maybe one other person from the Southern Rockies team. We've got Livy and Kirsten, at least from the Salt Lake's North office. Lauren, Dylan, Logan. It's great to have you here, and Cheyenne, Braden, and Zarek, as well as Allison here on Zoom tonight. It's great to have everybody here. Shay is just high as a kite right now. She's on painkillers after having surgery 48 hours ago, and was in SC2 Friday, Saturday, flies to Chicago, starts her fast on the way home from Chicago, because you have to fast before you get surgery, they make you not eat. And so she did that, suffered through all that, went under the knife. And then now she's got a new knee, and I don't even know. She didn't have new knees. She has new parts of her knee, new something or other. Okay, tendons.
They took out my screw.
Yeah.
They shaved my bone, and then they cleaned everything out and stuff, and then repaired me.
They roto-rooted her knee. Okay, so that's awesome. And here we are. So Jesse may be joining us shortly. I'm not sure. I know we got training classes going on and team meetings going on and all sorts of hot stuff. But I'm really excited. I had a really great conversation with Lauren just before this about opportunities and being promoted to assistant manager. So she'll get recognized at CFC, but let's give her a round of applause, being promoted to assistant manager. That's awesome. And yeah, Anthony's like, yeah, join the ranks, girl. Okay, so yeah, okay. So and normally we would be having a meeting with the Big Sky division, the people Eastern Idaho and Boise. So I have a little thing here I forgot to remove. I always try to remember them when we're meeting with them, and this is the meeting that they're not going to be here. Oh, well. So they're having a meeting like this next week. But this is the introduction to the Leadership Academy. And I will tell you, today is going to be an awesome meeting. What I love about this is a lot of information, and it's meant to be literally informative for you. And you'll take some notes, and you'll definitely, you'll want to take notes tonight. And also, I'm going to go ahead and say, some of you, I've shown you this, right? Is the brown book and the blue book. Okay, we have a district manager opportunity book, and we have a branch manager opportunity book. A few of you have this already, which is awesome. And anything I'm going to show you, it's not taken directly from this book, but it's actually the same information, maybe a different, formatting or whatever. But I want to say that, today is really about an opportunity. The vector opportunity, I think, Jesse gave a talk, which was basically all pictures, right? I want to say Quentin and also one of the other messages that we had at SC2 was very much just not meant to be informative from a content sense, but rather from an opportunity and, kind of touchy-feely only, you know what I mean? Not like nuts and bolts type thing, right? A subjective talk versus an objective talk. And it's a good thing I'm recording my chest. That's awesome. Okay. I'm a headless EVM here. Okay. No one could have said that even on the chat. Anyone in the Zoom? Okay. Thanks. Okay. This is being recorded for quality assurance. Okay. Epic fail. Okay. So I want you to take a second and just in your notes, whether it's on computer or in your journal or notebook or whatever, your handy dandy cuaderno. And let's go ahead and take a second and consider those of you that have been around longer than a few weeks, but even if you've been here a few weeks, think about the impact that you've had, or that the impact that has been, how you've been impacted, I think is a great way to look at that. How is it that so far this job has impacted you as a human being? So take a minute and think, what have you learned? What have you gotten out of the job? Have you been on a scale of 1 to 10, If you're not over 10 grand in sales yet, you might not be immensely blown away by the income. And I say that especially because you may have spent $225 to go to the conference, right? And so when you've only made 1,000, that's a chunk, and you might have gotten $300 worth of Cutco. You might have, like Staley and two other people, won the $100 at the conference. So that's kind of cool if you did. But and then there's Angelica. And then there's Angelica, who won a TV earlier this summer from the job, won a 55-inch TV. Okay. And so think of the ways that you've been impacted. All right. And I'll drop the punchline right now. Think about a year from now, what impact might be felt, of course, again, by you, meaning what could you get out of the job? What could you be impacted even more so? Let's say you run a branch. Let's say you become a assistant manager, and you sell 15, 20,000 for SC2 push, like Staley and Anthony and Connor just did. Let's say you make 6 grand in a push period. Like in 17 days, you make $6,000, right? I don't mind saying that both Staley and Nick Fiesler a couple of years ago made not far off of $8,000 in 17 days, right? Think about what that means to you in the course of a whole summer at that commission level. Think about being a branch manager. The company hands you $8,500 to run an office, $2,500 spent on mailers and advertising, and $6,000 cash. You, as a person, go through the Leadership Academy. You save $5, $10, $15,000. You go into a summer knowing you've already got 20K in the bank, and you're going to spend some of it, but not very much of it in our division. And then you get paid on your office sales, right? You don't just work here for free, right? That's cool is when you're a branch manager. I said to myself, I made 20K 2 summers in a row as an assistant. Now, my story was I got married one summer, and I also was in Chicago, knowing I was coming to Utah. I wasn't going to branch there at that time. Then I moved across the country, didn't branch the next summer, various reasons, personal, family, as well as a little bit of the business, but mostly personal reasons and family reasons, mostly not having to do with me. And then a year later, I had made two summers where I made over $20,000 as an assistant manager. And back then we didn't have the straight half and some of these other cool things that branches get. Well, anyway, I was going to open an office for sure, 100%, even 2 years before I actually did, knowing eventually it would happen. I wasn't going to take a pay cut. And again, 20K in 1997 and 98 and 99. In today's dollars, easily 40 or 50 grand in a summer, right? That's the equivalent. I mean, gas was 69 cents. Okay, so give you an idea. Okay, extra value meals were $3. Okay, so and it is what it is. But the point is, I wasn't going to take a pay cut to be a manager, right? So I was determined to be successful, and I had 5 scholarships under my belt. I had 175 grand in sales under my belt, right? Because of the 2, before mission, and then 2 more years and all that. I knew I was going to succeed because I was around a lot longer, but I had a family and my wife and 2 kids. So it was also something I needed to be, responsible for too, right? If I could have done it and made $0, it was still one of the most impactful things, even after a mission, even after other things that I'd done in scouts and sports and in Cutco. Still to this day, easily one of the most impactful things I've ever done in my life, to myself, for myself. Right? Look at that first point on the screen. Consider the impact that you will get, supposing you go out as a branch manager, as an assistant manager, and that type of thing. And now, as a vector, this is Leadership Academy we're talking about, right? So if you're a vector leader, do you think you'll impact others? Yeah, by default, right? That's what leaders do in the military. It's what leaders do in any organization, a football team, a chess club, right? The leaders always impact the group. And so think about the impact that you would offer someone else, putting yourself in the position of leadership. No one's going to put you there but you and me, or you and your district manager and me, right? And if you and we feel like you're the guy, you're the girl, you should run an office, or you should be this role, assistant manager, sales manager, pilot, sales, division office manager, whatever that position is, think about the impact you could have on other human beings. Because that is something that you'll never forget, right? If you were the captain of a team ever, right? Captain of any organization, could have been anything. Think about the impact you might have on other people, right? And when you get to be the captain of a vector organization, it really is a pretty awesome experience and a huge impact that you make on others. So what is leadership? It's leadership outside of Cutco. It's leadership inside of Cutco. It's leadership, period, right? And becoming a leader, there's a book called The Leader with No Title. And you guys may have heard me say that you're a leader whether you realize it or not. Who's ever been in a room where there's a negative person, negative Nancy or whatever it is, and there's a really funny Saturday Night Live skit, which is Debbie Downer or something like that. It's really funny. And man, you're a leader if you bring negativity to an organization, to a room, to a carload of people, right? And you ever been around that energy suck person? Like it's tough. And we've all been that person too, once in a while, I'm sure. So tonight we're going to also talk about what is leadership, which you could erase the word vector there. It really is what is leadership, right? And then what is the pay in the vector program on leadership, on management? Okay. I kind of wanted to know that when I was a rep. I was like, what does this manager of mine make? His birthday's today. My branch, the guy who launched me as a manager, as a rep, his birthday is today. Okay. Also, you've heard me talk about being in a position of choice and how to train. So we're going to talk a little bit about the whys and the whats. And the last couple slides will be, how do I train? If I wanted to go for the gold, I'd be a branch manager, district manager. I only sold $6,000 in my career. I don't even know if I could do that ever. But you know what? We're going to talk about how to be a great leader, how to train. Okay. In what ways have you impacted by the job? I'm going to keep moving a little quicker here. And think about, you guys already wrote this down. Who did you become? What did you learn? How did you grow? How many of you are like, well, you're talking past tense, Phil, but I got a lot more selling to do, right? A lot more growth to have myself. And so I hope you realize that selling Cutco is the path to growth, right? And there's no way you can be a leader of a company or of any organization, the military or the football team, if you don't have some pretty good skill at that position, right? So it is still a priority. Every once in a while I get someone's like, well, selling's not my thing, but I'm a leader. And to a certain degree, sure, right? If you're a great director of humans and a motivational person and a leader and, impactful in that sense, yeah. And we need you to know how to do the job so that you can teach reps how to do the job, right? And so, yes, you need to keep selling because you got to be saving and all sorts of things like this. And I just want to, again, it was so fun to go to Chicago with our managers, wing, back and forth, right? Really fast, 24 hours. But they always ask for us. They want us there. And we were just getting hit up like crazy. Jesse, myself, Shay, Bucky. The people are like, how are you doing this? What are you doing? We have a pound for pound small division, but we have some of the highest sales results from a representative level as well as an office level. I also want to mention there were 5 times the number of people at the conference than there were in ours. I'm pretty sure they had air conditioning. So that would have been awesome. Okay. But, what I will say is that the sales reports, they had one rep over 40 grand for the push. 3 AMs hit 30 grand. I want to say it was. I don't know it's on the newsletter tonight. So if you want to look at the newsletter later, you guys know you can download the newsletter yourself. You just type in newsletter the first week that shows up. It's the one for this week. It'll be uploaded yesterday probably. And so you can look at it, but you'll see like pictures of their conference and who sold and what and everything. So get a chance to maybe look at that. We may or may not be able to because of time tonight. And I just want to say that the managers are always like, get IMD out here, get the Intermountain Division. We love, like, they bring the wood. They always have great stuff, especially this time of year. We're about to go into the time of year where the whole region is like, Jesse. In fact, today there's 3 managers that were texting me and Jesse. They're like, you and Phil, or you and Jesse, you guys are always the highest level managers this time of year. And so some of you that are assistant managers, you should be really excited about what contribution you're going to make. But I want to say the summer is not nearly over. It's 4 weeks still of summer left, right? And for some of you, that means 3 weeks or 2 weeks, depending when school starts. But I will tell you that the summer of 2024, what has and will continue to happen has happened because of you, no matter where you've been. But think about 2025. And here's the key difference: who you will become, because you just like, most of you, not everybody here, but most of you like started, you like learned what a trimmer and a spatula spreader was less than 100 days ago, right? Or less than 30 days ago, right? And that's cool, and it's you contributed, right? But think about the group of people on this Zoom and in this room. Think about what impact and what could happen in 2025 if we all become the best version of us individually. Like what was Quentin's talk? Bringing the best version of you. Come on in, sir. Right? Bringing the best version of you to 2025. Okay. That gets me fired up. It gets me excited for you guys to be a part of that. And so think right now, did you grow? Nod your head if you felt like you grew. Awesome. Think about what you could do and how you could grow next summer. Think about what type of progress could be had in and for you and through you in 2025. Okay. Yes, Inception. We love the Maymates. Okay. So it is change. Okay. And change is hard. And that's why I'm here. I haven't changed. Yeah, I have. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like I haven't changed jobs, but I've grown immensely from a sales rep standpoint, from a young man, from a young father to a mature father to a mature manager. And I'm still working on that part. Okay. But let's think about 3 major lessons that I hope you've taken and drawn out of summer 2024. You guys ready? I put these down. The first lesson that I hope you've understood is the more you followed the program, you probably experienced the most success as you learned the program. Cutco's been selling Cutco for 75 years. You've been selling Cutco for less than 75 days. I hope you realize the more you're on the program, the better you are. The more you learned that flatware script, did you sell more flatware? The more you learn the cookware script, you sold the cookware. You're like, I didn't even sell any of that stuff, right? And you haven't even learned it yet. You haven't even learned it. So opportunities to sell and upgrade people to, ultimate sets and cookware and flatware and all sorts of things. Still more to learn. Second lesson is that your manager is your coach, right? The more you coached with your manager, the better you felt. The more you talked to Patrick, me, Jesse, any of your managers, Shay. Some of you are working in our Salt Lake area, so you kind of have a little bit of a touch on, with me and with Patrick and with Shay, right? Obviously as a Salt Lake North District manager, and naturally Bucky as well, and those of you that are in the Provo team and Southern Rockies, okay? And then the third thing that really matters is that, Nephi said it, I think, but making simple tweaks, simple and small decisions, and simple and small actions can turn the flywheel, can really create huge push period results, sales miracles, right? All of a sudden you sell $2,000 after 9 p.m. on the last night of the push, Anthony, right? You sell $7,000 or whatever it was in the last 24 hours. And, you humble a CSP. Nice. Love that, right? Okay. Sit that girl down and say, sorry, you might have made more money, but I'm selling more than you. What's your problem? Okay. And here, can those 3 kind of really like resonate? Does everyone like make sense of that? And here's what's so amazing. Just like there's a follow the manual rule in Cutco, it's exactly the same for managers. Flip the script and say a year from now, I guarantee we could sit in this room 365 days, 52 weeks from today, and be like, I learned as a branch manager. I learned as a district manager. I learned as, that if I follow the manager manual, which is literally a manual, we're going to teach you guys in Leadership Academy, no matter what role you take and have offered to you by next summer, we're going to take a manual and teach you exactly what to do. We give you a schedule when you open an office where you literally know on June 18th, what are you doing that day 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. through the whole day. You know exactly what you're doing pretty much. And you might say, hey, Phil, I've got a friend getting married. I got to be in her wedding on July, whatever. And we'll be like, great, we'll build that into your schedule. And before the summer starts, you'll have your schedule made. Remember I said at SC1, how many guys just need to know what to do? Like you just need to be told. You actually need to be told. It's actually easier than a sales rep job. From that standpoint, you don't open an office without a plan, right? So you're going to open an office and you'll know exactly what you're doing on June 23rd, July 23rd, each day of the push, right? Or the push of the summer, right? And you'll have a manual that you will have studied for 9 months from April to August, the other way around, August to April. And you'll actually know it's actually unbelievably because right now I just can't control my schedule. I don't know what I'm doing, right? Because the job's too easy, too flexible. It's almost a bad thing, right? You'll also know that you'll talk to your district manager and myself through the entire summer. We will hold your hand spiritually, physically, mentally, through the summer on the highs and the lows. You guys remember the 1/3, the 1/3, the 1/3. 1/3 are awesome, 1/3 are down in the dumps, 1/3 are average. Guys, that's life. And you know what? That's what a summer's like running an office. It's a third are going to be on high points, a third of them are going to be really tough, and a third of them will be about average. And the people that persist the most through all of those days, good, bad, and the ugly, they're the ones that do better in life. They're the ones that do better in the summer. And finally, as a manager, many small and simple decisions that you make as a manager to stick to your schedule, to follow the manual, to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. Again, life, but it's also vector management. And what you do in a summer is a smidge. It's a speck on the calendar of your life. Have you seen that thing on social media? And you can buy one of these things. It's the life planner or something like that. It's like a 12 feet or 10 feet tall. And it's like represents one day, every day of your whole life. And you just mark a little or do something with it. So what's a summer of running a branch? It's just like 75, 100 days compared to 10 years is 3,600 days. So what's 80 years? 8 times that's like whatever, right? 30,000, whatever, 300,000 days or whatever the math is on that, right? And you're talking about 100 days, right? And so it's a pretty amazing thing. And what's really fun is your second summer in Cutco, no matter where you're going to be, assistant manager, branch manager, just a sales rep. You're going to go into your second summer as a sales rep, as an assistant, branch, district, anything. You're going to experience way more growth than you do even in the first summer. That's what's actually really fun. I had my second summer 2 years plus after I started the job, right? Because I had to wait till the semester after I got home 2 years later. Does everyone get that? So my second summer was almost 3 years removed. You guys, it might be 300 days removed. Second summer, you could start the summer at 30%. You could be a CSP. You could be an events rep. You could be a CGC selling real estate gifts and things like that. Okay. And all right. Boomity boom. Already done. Already in the works. Haha. It's amazing. My job as a DVM is to set up the basketball gym in the YMCA in Olean the Saturday morning of the Olean trip. So awesome. And I'm texting this morning the CEO of Cutco and his wife, this suck up message. Hey, you awesome humans, and it's the president of Cutco. So I'm like so fired up that I just got a text from him. Okay. So yeah, isn't that cool? Okay. So that next summer, okay. Assistant manager. That's how cool the company is. They're literally going to rent out the YMCA for the central region, MITs that are going to Olean to go play basketball before we tour, after we tour the factory. So yeah. Hope my knee's good by then. Okay. Assistant manager, right? What if next summer you are in a branch role where you're running a CEO of a town? The Cutco CEO of a town. That's a pretty awesome experience, right? Even if it is only for 75 days or whatever, right? 100 days. Dom, division office manager, right? Who's taking Patrick's place, right? That's an awesome opportunity. And I wasn't the division office manager, but I was in the division office did different division offices. I was in that office, right? Division manager's office. And I was an AM for almost 2 years in that office. So I wasn't the actual position division office manager, but I basically kind of was. And we did the most business, little here. But when our company trip was in Cancun, actually, it was a region trip actually, and they left. We used to do like 7-8 grand a week, 7-8 grand a week. We'd have like 8 people at the team meeting. When they left, we did almost 20 grand the week that he left, and we had like 30 people at the team meeting. I was a little overboard. Okay. Like I was like, I'm calling everybody. I called reps from like 2 years ago. I'm just kidding. And I got everybody in and we had this awesome team meeting. I cut up $1,000 worth of food, it felt like. But we had a crazy fun meeting. Imagine being in a division. By the way, why the division office? Some people are like, well, is that guys, when you train in literally the office that does 5 times any other office's business, we did $1.6 million last year, right? And we were number 2 in the company in new business. It's a hands down number 1. You're going to be the top new manager when you run an office, right? Because you get to work hand in hand all summer with the Jedi master of the territory, right? So that would be me. Okay. And then district manager, right? And by the way, all of the district managers right now, Bucky, Shay, and Patrick will be, and of course, Jesse, they all were either division office manager or in Bucky's case was in the division office, right? For a year and a half. So, and he also worked with me 20 years ago, right? So remember, this isn't just a summer job. In other words, you don't close your office and then leave Vector, right? It just changes roles, right? You run a branch and then you close your office and you go back to being a high-level assistant manager. You go back to being a CSP, working at booths, and you could also be on the events team and be an assistant manager and still be a sales rep, right? So it's like, it isn't just a summer thing, okay? So you saw this. Remember, the demo rep goes into all these different sales. If you were at SC1 or SC2, you know this is a repeat, right? So those are the high-level sales rep positions. But all of those positions usually come roundabout from TLA, right? So there's the assistant manager, there's the sales manager. Just promoted, Lauren to assistant manager, and then from the assistant manager role, and even from the demo rep, some people do go straight from rep without even being an assistant manager. They go to the branch manager position, right? So again, this is like a repeat, but I want to recap, guys, that branch manager, second summer branch managers. Most branch managers in our division choose to do it at least twice. Sarah Crook, you guys barely know her. She was a CSP this year, and she ran 3 branches in a row. Grew immensely as a human being, and if you'd met her today, or if you met her 3 years ago and she started in 2020, if you would have met her 4 years ago, you would not be thinking, boy, this girl's going to run 3 awesome offices and win 3 company trips: Hawaii, Ireland, and Spain. Or I'm missing one in there. I forget. Okay. No, I think those are the 3. And then division office manager, that's the same as pilot sales manager, division office manager. All of these roles, sometimes people go rep to DM. Usually it's a swim through assistant manager down, but you get the idea. And then district manager, boy, it's a career. It's a year-round position. It's not just running a store, I call it. It's not just running an office, but it's running an organization that's thriving and promoting other branch and district managers, right? And so district managers have a new role in that they are responsible to also develop other managers, where a branch is only going to be there for 2-3 months. Usually you don't branch, you can. I developed a branch as a branch, but and a lot of branch managers do. A lot of our current branch managers are developing branch managers while they're a veteran, their son or daughter, so to speak, right, becomes a branch manager while they're also branch managers, right? Or they get promoted to district manager and they already have a branch manager. And then from there, of course, I was a district manager, became a division manager. There's the region manager. And again, I want to point out, lastly, any and every one of these paths, these roles, could lead back to either career here or career here. What is the career opportunity? Leadership, management, or career in selling Cutco, right? It's not always the end of the road when someone becomes a manager. It's oftentimes the continual road here, or it's the continual opportunity to then become a very high level $1 million rep, so to speak, okay? So today is just the beginning. Okay, it's actually less training, it's more opportunity and learn and like open your eyes a little bit. Is everyone with me on that? It's not just like, oh, now that I'm here, I'm signing myself up to be a manager, right? This is literally an opportunity, a meeting to learn and understand. And really, the way our best managers ever, I made the example myself. 2 years of training in 2 different divisions, 2 different regions, Chicago and Salt Lake City. I was ready to go out and not only just go out. If I was single and didn't have kids at the time, I would have branched probably 2 years earlier, let alone at least 1 year earlier, right? But having a family and stuff, there was reasons in what we did. But my point is that I was for sure going to succeed, but it wasn't because I like had this great desire. You guys know 80% of your success is what? Psychology, right? 80% of your success is psychology, but that doesn't mean you're 20% skill. By the way, if you don't know, the other 20% is skill. It doesn't mean you get an A+ ever without the skill. You got to have the skill. And the skill first is selling Cutco, and then the next level is, recruiting, and thirdly is teaching people to sell Cutco, right? So you have to learn how to sell Cutco, and then you learn how to recruit, and then you learn how to teach people how to sell Cutco, and that's also part of recruiting anyway. And so the way that you'll succeed as an assistant branch district, any level of leadership in Cutco this next month, this next semester, the semester after that, and this summer, next summer, is by helping your office succeed now. So in the office that you're in, even if you're at school at SUU, or if you're at an office in Snow College or something like that, or another state, learning how to work with the local office, or in most cases, you'll be local enough to the office. You can come to the office and or work virtually. And then lastly, on some of our TLA calls and monthly Leadership Academy meetings. Okay. So what usually happens is we have a weekly call. Mostly are going to be on Friday afternoon. And then on once a month, we'll have a Leadership Academy meeting as well on a Friday. Without that leadership call, we'll have a Leadership Academy meeting. Okay. I'm going to give you some of those dates tonight, just so you guys know. And we're going to be making, we'll be helping you. And I want to say what I said to Lauren an hour and a half ago. I go, no one's making a decision today on us wanting you to run an office, because you ain't made that much impression yet. Okay. But no one's going to make a decision sitting in your chair saying, I'm running an office today. And even if you are that guy or girl in this meeting that you're like, whatever Phil says, I'm a 10, I'm running an office, that's going to go down and up easily in the next few months. Okay. And we expect that. And that's what we're used to as a company. That's what I'm used to for sure in our Leadership Academy. And so today is really just like that catalyst when you dump it in the beaker in chemistry, right? It's like that's what makes the reaction happen. So today's just meant to be a tripwire, or whatever you want to call it. So what would it take from you, and who would you need to become to be that type of leader that produces hundreds of thousands of dollars in business in your own career selling Cutco, and produces hundreds of thousands of dollars in business in an office where you train people to sell Cutco? It's definitely growth from where you are today. Can we all, right? We all can agree with that. And so that's hopefully exciting. And you got to grow. To be a real leader, you have to be growing along the way. My worst years of my career were the years where I was not growing in other ways, let alone Cutco ways, right? And the people that ever in any organization, if they're not growing, they're usually not leading. And so you got to grow two things, in my opinion. This is Phil Gospel here. How you see others. Sometimes we look at certain, people in training or interviews. Luca today, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to give him the opportunity. That's one of the things I'm proud of. Guys from Paraguay, hard to understand. Part of it was this phone service. Part of it was, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I bet you he could read the manual, and I bet you he could talk to at least 5 people, and he could sell Cutco and get referrals. So I love offering that guy the opportunity. And so recruiting in our company is a proud, yes, we want a lot of people, and we want to give everyone their opportunity to multiply their talents. Make sense? We've all heard the parable of the talents, I'm guessing, right? And so one guy might have 2, turns it into 4. One guy might have 5, turns it into 25. One guy might have 1 and turns it into 2. And that is what leadership is, how you see other people and helping them become the best version of themselves. Second level leadership is leading yourself and how you see yourself. I grew so much more than anybody else in my office in the summer of 1989. Okay. And there were some great people that I know Vector and I had an impact on, but 100% over, I grew most, right? And before you run an office, you got to see yourself as a leader. And then when you're running an office, you can't forget that. Can't forget that, right? So write down commitment account for a second, okay? Let me pause and say, if at any time in the meeting today or ever, you hear an assumptive attitude from me, like, hey, when you branch, right? I'm going to tell you right now, I have no apologies for telling you that I'm talented. And I said this is to Lauren. I'm positive that everyone in this room, you're talented enough. And myself, and our management staff, Jesse, Shay, Bucky, Patrick, and all of our managers, we are talented enough. And the company Vector Marketing, including Susan and Jim Stitt, who I just got a text from, right? They're talented enough with the program that we have as a company to help any one of you get into a position of choice where you could be running your own organization summer of 2025, right? Let alone 26, 27. But when you're having a commitment account, the commitment account is what you as a proverbial spiritual bank account. It's paying your dues, paying your rent. Who's ever seen the gym posts? You see someone in the gym paying my rent, getting gains. Who's heard all that stuff before, right? Guys, when you go to the gym, you're paying the rent. You're paying your rent to your body, that you're letting your spirit live in that thing, right? And so guess what? You pay the rent. You go and you make your body healthy because it makes the inside of your body healthy, right? What's inside your body. And guys, it's the same thing. When you put commitment, when you go to the gym weekly, monthly, daily, right? When you go to the Cutco job and you put commitment account money in there, what is a commitment account mean? It's studying your interview. It's showing up to Champs Club. It's making phone calls. It's listening to your manager. It's calling your manager when you don't want to, right? It's having the conversation with me, your division manager, that maybe you think might be painful. And I've been a manager for a long time. I've got kids that are 5, in some cases, even 7, 8 years older than you. In fact, I have a stepdaughter who's 10 years older than a lot of you, okay, more than that. And so I will promise you that I've had these conversations not only with my own kids, I've had conversations like the conversations we should have. If you really want to get good at being coached, if you really want to be good and coachable and be good at the job, the deeper and maybe not darker, but yeah, darker sometimes, right? The more we get into the kitchen or in the weeds or whatever with you, the more of a relationship we can build together and the better you can be. And that's part of commitment account. Saving money in startup, part of your commitment account. Studying the interview, studying your flatware approach, studying your cookware approach, getting good at selling Cutco on the booths and things like that, and service calls, and going in and sharpening people's Cutco, and doing one extra demo when you didn't want to, doing one extra phone call, those types of things, right? Getting to campus when you weren't asked to, but you got the opportunity, and you're like, I'm going to show up, and I'm going to help out recruit people on the first week of school. That type of stuff, I did that for 2 years. It was a hands down for sure. In fact, my division manager was never going to open Provo. You guys want to hear this? The Utah was on quarters. So we didn't get out, University of Utah, didn't get out till like the end of June. BYU used to get off on April 28th. So he would literally come down, the division manager, he would, kind of shut down, put a little sign, see you in June on the sign of the door right across the parking lot right there. And he would open an office for 2 months on 560 South State Street in Orem. And we would recruit like 80 people and do 100, 200 grand in Cutco sales. And then he would close that office and reopen up in this area. And he was never going to open Provo. But a guy like me who had had 5 scholarships, sold 175 grand in his office. On the week he goes to Cancun, produces a 20K week when we used to do 8 grand a week, and had 20 some odd people at the team meeting. And that type of thing. The president of the company, Bruce Goodman and Kevin, were like, you know what? We got to give Provo to Phil. And I earned that right, so to speak, because of my commitment account. So I'm speaking from my heart right now. Okay. This is like my story, right? Jesse earned that commitment account also when he was a division office manager in his senior year of college. That's pretty hard work, right? And he also went on a lot of first dates. Again, he was already dating his wife. But our man
Did you say
Bucky
already dating my wife? Yeah, I was
You were.
married.
You were married. No, you got.
I was
Oh
married.
yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, I forgot. I reversed it. The summer before that, the year before that. He was the assistant manager in my office. That's hard enough. Okay, so you guys heard the quote by Muhammad Ali, right? Y'all know that he said, "Away from the witnesses, away from everybody, out of the gym, was in the gym, excuse me, out of the ring was when he really won the fight." Okay, Jesse, you could copy paste this. Send me a text and I'll send you the actual quote and we can fix the slides. So, all right. So the commitment account. My advice is to make frequent deposits. It's like 20 extra minutes learning my vector, AM role or whatever, versus 20 minutes of on what device, question mark. All right, great. I'm getting texted by my people and all these things. All right, great. I love this quote. If you haven't heard it before by Seneca, it's like, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Who's ever heard that quote? A lot of people have heard that quote, I think. Maybe I'm not right, but in the book Equation, the other book is in the other room, right? Not Miracle Morning, but Miracle Equation. Remember the stories you read about the Cutco pushes, right? In the Miracle Equation, Hal Elrod talks about a miracle maven. A miracle maven. A miracle maven is the person that, like I made the analogy of the guy that's like good at school, good at choir, good at sports, good at spirituality, good at this, good at that, and you're like pissed off at him because he's got everything going, right? By the way, I'll remind you, that guy cries because he's achieving everything at that level. It's really hard to do that. Some of you have done that, okay? But I'll tell you right now, the miracle maven, the guy or the girl who's got all their crap together, seemingly, right? And they do in a lot of ways, right? They're just the ones that took the two things. There's an opportunity to do well in school, opportunity to do well in sports, opportunity to work hard at this, opportunity to do that, opportunity to that. And they did the work. And the opportunity and the two work together where they just weirdly attract miracles. They weirdly attract miracles. I've been to 3 shows in my life, sold out shows. No way, this is before all the you could buy triple price tickets and there was no way to, whatever. I can't even tell you how many times I've been to a concert where I'd show up. I flew to Chicago one time with no tickets to see U2, the U2 stage, the aquarium. I went to opening day. I was 12 feet from Bono. Opening day in Chicago, I flew there with no ticket. Okay. I went to Metallica one time live. I got in for free. I AFTO'd and the employee of the stadium, she's like, come here. She's like, gave us 2 tickets, me and Dan Gazzetta, the region manager of the Western region. And we got into the Metallica show for free. Okay. So on the floor, it was awesome. Okay. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because luck and opportunity, okay? Or preparation and opportunity. Preparation was the Cutco selling. Okay, I learned how to sell. Okay, but you guys maybe heard the Robert Frost quotes, the 2 roads diverge in a wood and you take the road less traveled. How many guys do you believe your friends are going to lifeguard, mow lawns, maybe even be a sales bro, okay, next summer? Like, well, how many guys feel like that's something that people do, right? And taking the opportunity to run your own organization and have 100 days to transform your life, that's pretty awesome. And again, a lot of times sitting in this meeting, people are like, yeah, but what is it, Phil? What's it like? What's it like? Here's what I wanted to, I had this slide missing from my talk on Saturday morning. I was freaking out mad. And that was also when like the technical things happened. But here are the 5 things. If I took branch managership into one slide, and I was just talking to Lauren about this earlier, okay? It takes really 5 things to be a successful branch manager, okay? So this is worth the notes for sure, is, your driving touches. Just like when you open a business, you got to set up your social media accounts. You got to get an influencer or 12, and you got to, get the ground up, from the ground up, you got to like advertise your grand opening sale. You're going to get the ribbon and put it around the building and get the big ugly scissors and have a little, invite the radio station, and you got to like have this, recruiting, right? So we'll call this as creating interest. creating interest through campus activity. You go to the state DECA event in February, and you go to the high schools in your territory in March and June and April, if you're in an area where you can get to your high school. If you're 8 hours away because you're in Wyoming and you're running an office somewhere else, or if you're in Utah and you're running an office somewhere else, then yeah, you're not going to be able to go there to the high schools till you actually go there physically. What Jesse did this though, he was a junior in college, and he left on a one day. He drove all the way down to St. George, and he did a table on campus, and then he drove back to school to run stuff in my office and take his tests. So like during finals, he even took the opportunity to like bust down there. He had to like move into his office as well. So he like moved into his office, ran a table on campus, ran an interview, and then got in his car and drove home to run it to the next day, take a final, right? That's an example of like, you're that committed to being successful. So you figure out a way to do it all. What is the word we used in the push? Expanding your what? Do you remember? Expanding your capacity, right? Remember 3rd grade, you cried over your homework. And then in 5th grade, you're like, I was such a baby. How did I not know how to do multiplication? I was, Dylan of old, you're an idiot, right? And then in 5th grade, you cried. You cried about other homework. And then 7th grade, 6th grade, you're like, oh my gosh, I was an idiot. Like you got better at math. So you laugh at the old you with math. Most of us, right? Not everybody, but most of us laugh at our old self in math because we got better at math, right? Guys, you expand your capacity and you look back at branching and you're like, wow, that was a crazy growth summer, but man, my life is more complicated now. Right. And that's why you want to embrace the growth, embrace the opportunity. So expanding your, first you drive interest, then you do something called booking fire, or you go to campus and you book people for an interview. And booking fire means you're booking friends of friends on the team, right? So Lauren's here today, $16,000 in sales because London referred her. But I said to her, Lauren, someone booked you for an interview. And then you're glad you did that. She did that. They did that. And you're glad that happened. But we're glad that it happened too, right? And so booking fire is taking all those people that people recommend and you set them up for interviews. So that's step 2, is creating the interest. And then people get booked for interviews. And then guess what? Like I did today, Kirsten and Lauren got on and were physically in the office. Everyone who was not in the office, we got screwed up and we got kicked out of the interview 14 times because everyone had the same link, Jesse. And so running interviews is the next step. And I think Zarek and it was Zarek and Cheyenne that kicked me out of my own interview like 4 times today. It was awesome. Okay, so. Okay, but shaking my head, but we learned from the opportunity. And so here's the thing, you run interviews to set people for training, and then guess what you do? You run training. Okay, can I get Jesse to send me a text to say, fix slide 18, Jesse. So you work with your trainees, right? And you run training, 3 days of training, and you either, depending, there's virtual or in person and all these things, but you engage with your trainees and you get them through the training class. And then now you have reps. These are my reps. Like you show up to a conference, these are my reps, right? These are my homies. These are my peeps. Okay. And I taught them how to sell Cutco, right? And what's one of the craziest, funnest things? The first sale that John Pinniger ever made was a dang vegetable knife. This guy is Bruce R. McConkey's grandson. This is 1999. You guys saw his pencil neck picture when he won the ultimate set in the black and white photo in the script in my talk on Saturday. And his first sale was a vegetable knife. I interviewed him like, John, he's going to either show and be too cool for school. I think he's going to be too cool for school. And I was like, I don't know. And he shows up training like, all right, here we go, John, right? Here we go. And then we're going through training. He was a fun guy. And he made his first sale for a vegetable knife. I was like, John, did you even listen in training? Like, I never taught you how to sell a vegetable knife. What are you doing selling a vegetable knife? I'm like, come on, man. And I was like, so like annoyed, right? And I'm like, come on, bro, you should sell so much more Cutco. And as it was, he sold $80,000 in his career. First sale was a vegetable knife. Okay. But that relationship over a couple of years, and again, 80 then is like 100,000 now, right? but $80,000 while he was in college and making some really good money. It was a great experience for him because I didn't just launch him from training and say, get the F out of here, right? I took the next summer, the whole summer, because he was in my first training seminar of the summer. I had ran one little training seminar before the summer started, and he was in my first training class. And he went through the whole summer and sold a lot of Cutco, almost won a scholarship. And you field train and you teach your reps and you PC and PDI them and you bring them to the team meeting. And the more people bring to the team meeting, some of you guys remember we were the oh, I forgot my dang hat. I thought it was sitting here, but we were the Provo puppy dogs, right? Now you guys heard that? We were the Provo puppy dogs. It was PUPPYDAWGS. Okay, so it was puppy dogs. And we had hats. And then we would super glue Dalmatians, 101 Dalmatians. We were super gluing them everywhere. Like they were in illegal places. They were on drinking fountains in random buildings. That it was not appropriate. Okay. But that was what we did in the summer of 1999. Okay. I don't think it was too many illegal things, but whatever. Okay. So does everyone get the idea? Like from a Cutco standpoint, those are the 5 steps. And if you think about what your experience was this summer, somehow or other, you got interested. We sent you a letter, you got texted by a friend, something happened. And then we brought you up, set you up for an interview. And then we interviewed you, you went through training, and now you have support. And here you are sitting here now today. Right. So that's the process for every representative. And that's the thing you will focus on as a branch manager. Those 5 things only. So from a Cutco standpoint, see the Cutco logo, right? That's the Cutco program. So if I were to conceptualize it without Cutco, what is branching? One that's really something I want you to think about is that one, it's a program. It's not a let's create SpaceX. Let's make this thing on the internet where we can like see each other's photos from across the country called Facebook, right? If you haven't seen the movie Social Network, right? It's not like this new thing called the computer or the automobile or the plane, the airplane, right? So one, it's a program. 2, it's you're a lion. Okay, what is that? Well, guys, what does a lion do? There's literally 3 things. You're like, what's a lion? Okay, no, what is a lion? There's only 3 things a lion ever does. What is the measure of a lion's creation? It's it. There's 3 things.
Eat, sleep, create the pride.
Mate. Let's just say it, dude. It's okay. Mate. Okay?
No, create an empire, a pride.
Pride. Dude, it's called mating. Okay. You, mister, I have 3 kids under 4. Okay. So come on.
I'm creating a pride.
So it's literally
everything the light touches is my kingdom.
You eat, you sleep, and you make more lions. And frankly, as a branch, you do like 3 things. You do a lot of recruiting, you do a lot of training, and you work with your reps. Like, for example, right? And the first 3 steps on the slide before are basically recruiting and then training and then working with reps, right? And the last thing is you get crazy sick skills and experience. Like you go back, you're like, that was harder than a mission. And again, I think it is some people that went on missions. Why is it harder than a mission? Well, when you go on a mission, it's like a slow burn. It's like a marathon. It's like 2 years. It's like a long dang time, and you like leave home and you talk to your mom every week because of the new rules. But anyway, I talked to my mom like 3 times on my mission. And, I wrote her every week. I was responsible, but some missionaries didn't. Okay. But my point is that, it's hard because like there's days on the mission that are like way hard. But then they say the days are forever, but the years go by like nothing, or the months go by so fast, or something like that. You don't even have that much time in a branch. It's a straight up sprint. I lost 20 pounds that summer, and wasn't a heavy dude, right? You guys understand that? Like I was busting my butt and it was so awesome, so worth it to this day. You know what I mean? And I've got previous reps that write me notes and things like that. And what's cool is we give you a syllabus. We literally give you a syllabus. If you take those 5 things on that vector slide, the Cutco slide, it's like create touches, sound familiar? Run the interview, run training, and work with your reps. Create touches and run interviews and run training, schedule people for interviews, and then run training and interviews and training, and then work with your reps. And then there's you. Attitude, social and emotional intelligence, attitude about yourself, and attitude about helping others, leadership. And busting your butt. So work ethic, attitude, and then those 4 or 5 things right there on that slide. Okay. So the only difference between branching, I'm going to talk about branching because that's like a new office. And I was talking to Lauren about this. I'm like, if you're not going back to school, you would, and she's going back to school, but down the road, if she was not going back to school and running an office the next summer, she would I would just say, you'd probably just open as a district. The district is the past the summer office, right? And so Patrick's goal, Kirsten's goal, you know, and a number of individuals in our region's goal is to become a district manager. It's a year-round running an office, but that's just the beginning. So like usually Shay and Bucky, like right now, they're running a store, a Cutco store, because they just getting their feet on the ground, so to speak, just starting their office staff, just starting the development, just starting to learn training, just starting to learn how to coach reps and that type of thing. Now, they did do it in my office, and you know, so did Jesse. But the real job of a district manager is to manage a district. If I just reverse the 2 words, the district manager's role is to keep the office, the store, if you will, running, and they start to create franchise. Right? They start to create, oh, another branch manager, another district manager, a district manager leaves my office, and a branch or 1 or 2 branch managers leave the office. And so we have a staff of people that run those offices. Oh, and by the way, we run the #1 office in our district. Does everyone understand that? That's what I did for 15 years before I got promoted to be a division manager. And it was awesome. I raised, you know, 7 kids, you know, and had a great family life and had a great opportunity. And I loved my job. And then they gave us a bunch of money for 9 years ago that made the job opportunity even sweeter, right? Without having to sell another dollar worth of Cutco, the company has thrown in BMWs that I didn't have as a new manager. Tesla's, they've thrown in these cool monthly bonuses that weren't there for 15 years, literally whatever that is, 12 months times 15. It's a lot of months I didn't get those bonuses. And for the last 9 years, I've been getting those bonuses. For the last 6 years, Jesse's been getting those bonuses. So they're pretty awesome. So when I say 4 to 8 times the income, I actually got the region manager got mad at me when he saw that. He's like, Phil, I'm like, well, let me tell you, you work 4 times as long of a year because a branch manager runs an office for like 2-3 months and then they sell, right? So it's like a quarter of a year, and then but you work 4 times, you know, in the summer and the non-summer as well. But then there's these cool bonuses that branches don't get. There's monthly bonuses and super bonuses that branches don't get. We're going to get to the pay level in like 1 slide, okay, guys, or 2 slides. And then the other really cool pay part of the job is that I'm like hovering my cursor, showing you guys on the wrong screen. Okay, so besides the year-round opportunity, and now it's a career, obviously. And again, a career is relative. Do you guys know, and I'm going to use the bad example of Will Smith, right? Will Smith, although he's not everyone's favorite today, and he's kind of I don't know, older douchepacker today. But anyway, but in the day, he was the Eminem of the 1980s. So he was the world's greatest rapper. No one was more famous than him, and everyone hated him because he didn't swear. Okay, so in the 80s and 90s, he was like the best rapper. Some of you guys may not even know that. And then he became the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he was the world's highest paid sitcom actor. And then in the 2000s, I think it was, he was the world's highest paid movie actor. So he changed careers 3 times, right? And that's what a lot of people do. Like they're a teacher for a while, then they're a lawyer, or they're a lawyer and they're like, I don't like being a lawyer, I want to teach it instead. And they go back and they go become a professor, right? Like people change careers, doctors change specialties, right? And so that happens too. So the thing is, it's a career, DM is a career, but it's also not you're signing your life over in blood, right? You guys understand that? And again, there's a lot of great income and there's a long-term. When I say long-term for people, in many cases, our district manager like 22. There's actually been 19-year-old district managers, okay? Successful at a high level. You know, none of your district managers are 19, which is actually a good thing because they actually know their crap. Okay, so they're not 19. Okay, but some 19-year-olds have been great district managers. Okay, that's why branching is so awesome. Okay, yeah, he's using examples in the chat box. Here, I'll put the chat box on the screen for you guys. Okay, Jesse's blowing it up over here. Okay, so all right. All right, so here we go, guys. This is kind of cool. And again, this is in the Brown book. and we also have handouts. For time's sake, wasn't sure what the printer situation was here. I didn't print the 10 of you, 8 of you. I can print it before we're done today, and I can drop it in the chat box. But here's a couple things. We got 20. Okay, we're good. We're on. Let me go quickly here, but here's what I'll tell you. If you think about a piece of pie, I'm sorry, a pie, an apple pie. The pie is 35%. Is everyone with me on that? Just kind of most of the time. It's not always the case, but most of the time the pie is 30%, 35%. When a rep in a branch office or a new district office opens as a rep, they get 10%. How many of you got 10%? Your first $1,000 in sales, right? Your manager who spent 9 months in training, not 3 days. Your manager who spent 9 months in training or more, 2 years, right? To run and train for an office, they got 25%. And who impacted those sales more than anybody? The rep or the manager? The sales wouldn't have happened without the manager, number one. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my branch manager, his birthday's today, right? So he made 25% when I made 10. I got a pay raise. He got not demoted, just the marginal income is a little bit less because the rep got more of the pie. Branch manager gets a little less of the pie, but the manager's still making money the whole way, right? And so is the rep. And the representative then gets the second pay raise to 20%, and now the pie is still 35, so 15% is what you earn. So as a representative is adding income, you're still adding income, it's just marginally a little less. And is the rep starting to become who's a little more self-sufficient today than you were the first day in the job, right? Everyone believes you are. Good. All right, awesome. That means your manager doing their job, okay? So the manager job is to keep getting less and less income on the margin. Because in the end, everybody makes more money, right? The manager is making more money and the representatives themselves. And what's really interesting is from $6,000 in sales, not $6. I hope you guys know that, right? From $6,000 in sales until $150,000 in sales, the representative, you included, Anthony, go from 25% to 30 to 35 to 45%. And the entire time that district or branch manager, which branches don't see reps of their own getting to 150 grand in sales usually in the summer. But anyway, 10% the whole way. And then once a representative is at 150 grand, I hope they feel pretty self-sufficient. But someone still helped this representative get there, so the manager gets a little bit more still. I never, and Jesse and your managers have never looked at their paycheck. Look what I made off of Abby this week. So like they don't look at that. It has to show up on the lists, right? But it doesn't be like, oh man, look what I got. Look what I got, off this person. There's no way they would make it through our division training if that's the way they thought. So at the end of the day, what I would consider most of you to think to be the most important thing to write down is that you guys know what a revenue percentage is, or what a revenue is versus a profit, right? There's revenue and there's expenses, and then there's profit, and then you get taxed on the profit. You pay your tithing probably on the profit, right? Not like that type of thing. But your revenue is somewhere usually for most new managers it's usually higher end of this, but somewhere between 17 and 22%. So when the office sells 10 grand, easy math, the district or branch manager is usually going to revenue about $1,700 to $2,200. Make sense? I think that's worthwhile. That red one right there, right? Is to know, when an office does 20 grand, that's going to be $3,400 to $4,400 in revenue. Okay. Again, when you branch, the company gives you $6,000 cash. And by the way, you can ignore this, but the way I would look at it, it's not facts. This is not facts. This is just like an analogy. More startup of every business in the history of mankind is spent at the beginning. That's why they call it startup money, right? Or seed money or whatever, right? That money is spent in the beginning, and then some more is expended later, right? The funny thing is, the faster you get your office cranking, the less of this money ever gets spent. Like literally ever. I've had branch managers that they saved their own money and the company gave them $6 grand. They went through the summer. We paid all their bills with their startup money that they saved. And at the end of the summer, like, bro, you got $6,000. They're like, what's $6,000? Like the $6,000 you're supposed to get when you run an office that you didn't touch. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, you didn't need it. We didn't worry about it. He's like, what do I do? I go, we just put it in your bank account and put it in your Cutco withholdings. And they literally that week put $6,000 in their Vector withholdings. And they went from like, you know, $5,000 in savings or $12,000 in savings to like 18,000 in savings because we just took the money that Vector promised them. By the way, if you don't spend even $1 of it, it is always yours. And I say that because when you save responsibly, here's what I'll tell you. The rich get richer. Who's heard that before? Everyone's heard that before. The managers who save the most money from selling Cutco, are they better at selling Cutco? Yeah. So the managers that save the most money from selling Cutco, who are better at selling Cutco, guess who's probably better at teaching selling Cutco? Probably that manager. So their office gets cranking way faster and way more. So the managers who saved the most almost always don't spend or don't expend or don't have to use all the seed money because they just get their rep selling Cutco. They're getting big paychecks and they're like, I got that stuff. It's just my cushion. It's my down payment in a house, for crying out loud. So about a 22-year-old district manager buying a house when they're single and don't have, you know, mortgage and things like that, or don't have a family yet, it's pretty awesome. Okay, so $6,000 startup. Is everyone with me on that? The cash. When I branched, I got $1,250 and some rope and leather. It was awesome. Okay, so I got rope and leather from my company. Okay, and I'm not bitter about it. It's just a different business. This used to be 5% lower, by the way, for branches. Jesse and Shay, and you might not know that, but all of these numbers were 5% lower except for this one. You started at 20%, 15, 10, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That's what it was in the old days, but now it's even better because they gave the managers the 5%. And then they spend $2,500 if you're a branch on mailers. 2,500. A lot of this will look similar when I show you the DM slide, and the DM slide is, like I said, mostly the same, but there'll be a little bit more startup money in a minute. Okay. So I'm going to go slower on this slide so you understand it. Now, when you're a branch, they actually cut your pay. You're at 40. Yeah. You'll only make 35% in your sales May and June. They de-incentivize selling. If you're at 50%, they still cut you down to 35. Because in May and June, it's your responsibility. You signed up, they're giving you $6,000 to do it. Your job is to build the team. So they de-incentivize selling in May and June. And then in this July, August, September, 13 weeks, 1/4 of the year, the company pays you straight 50, no bonus checks. So there's no, this week, tomorrow, Staley, getting your first bonus check tomorrow, baby. Okay, so it's all the dollars you sold over 20K. You guys know that, right? In the month of July. So it won't count the last couple days of the push. That'll be next month's pay. Yeah, because that first 3 days was August. Yeah. Okay, but anything you sold over 20K in July, you guys will get your bonus checks on. Okay, that's pretty cool. Who's a little jealous? That's pretty awesome, right? Okay, but when you're a branch, it's even better. Because you sell a slicer, you get paid half a slicer. If you sell $5,000, you get 2,500. There's no bonus checks. For those 3 months, you get straight 50. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. Okay. So anyway, all right. Oh boy. Okay. I forgot to turn on the internet. Okay, my kids are freaking out over here. Okay. So, all right. So there's that. Okay. Ready? I'm recording this. This is being recorded. May I help you? Hey, what's up, dude? How was Ultimate Frisbee? Yeah? Did you kill it? Okay, oh, you got destroyed. Maybe you should think. Oh, nice. Well, hey, that's good. I'm glad you got to eat. All right, so hey, I just turned it on. I turned it on the TV and on the computer, okay? Everyone in the Intermountain Division knows this now. Okay, bye, love you. Okay. Yeah, I'm so glad that got recorded. Okay. I'm so glad he didn't say something. This is kind of fun. 207 branch managers, a couple summers. This is summer COVID. How many businesses had this experience in COVID? 207 college kids before COVID happened launched as branch managers. It launched in, COVID was March, but but they were already ready to run an office. We're like, we're running offices. 207 branch managers. 136 profited after their expenses, right? And that was a crazy year. So I tell you a point, our Park City manager, we wrote a check. The largest, hardest rent in the division is Park City, Utah, right? Richville, right? Literally wrote a $2,800 check, and I had to like talk them down for weeks to get the rent to be as low as possible. He wrote a check for $2,800, never moved in. Didn't even move in. We went completely virtual. So this landlord collected $2,800 from us, and he never even got the keys to this office. Okay, so that's how wonky 2020 was. You with me? Out of 207 college kids, and again, some of them chose not to sell at the end because of COVID and who knows whatever else, right? But 136 of them, what that 65% of them made over $5,000, which when I was 18, that was like a lot of money. 90 of them, nearly 50%, profited 5 figures. This is after expenses. So revenue was a lot higher, right? But they profited 10 grand, 61, 15 grand, 25 individuals. 12, 15% of them, right? More than the top 20, if that makes sense. Okay, made 25,000 bucks in the summer. Top 3, 55, 70, 55, 45, and 72,000 in the summer. You guys know Hanson's story. You guys, whatever. Okay, DM slide. You ready for this? There's a signing bonus when you open an office as a DM. They give you 15 grand straight cash, and they pay it to you right at the beginning of the summer, the same as a branch. You get 6 grand. And then over the next 6-8 months or 9 months after the end of the summer, you get a couple of chunks of $3,000. And then there's a $6,600 they give you for mailers. So instead of 2,500 bucks, they give you 3 times the amount of money almost for the mailers. And then you also, and that's an old number, actually, it's $50 for every rep that sells at least 50 bucks, you get $50. It's actually pretty crazy. This stuff is the same. You get paid 25, 20, 15, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and then 5% after that. So it's the exact same as branches. Okay. And then there's monthly PACE bonus, which is $12,000 a year, 1,000 bucks every month. Right, you get 1,000 bucks every month after your first 8 months because the money here is covering that stuff. And then you get your BMW lease or your Tesla lease. Jesse, you want to text me to change slide 27? I don't want to change slide 27. Okay, and then DM development. When you promote branches, you get 5%. So Jesse makes 5% off of Kirsten's office. Every branch manager I ever promoted, I got 5% of their whole office sales. Okay, so it's actually a pretty cool thing when you're a district manager. It's extra money, but it's things you would do anyway. Like if you're a district manager, you're in a leadership role, you want to develop branches in districts, right? And get them the same opportunity to help them get reps the same opportunity. And then district managers, when you promote district managers, you make $5,000 automatically. And then you start to get that, you get to get some extra monthly bonuses for about 20 months. Okay, they get bonus checks, you get bonus checks based on their bonus checks, which is kind of fun. And then here's some crazy extra cash. And it's like none of these things have to do anything with selling. Almost none of them, okay? We do sell Utopian coffee. It's a very small percentage of our company revenue. And when coffee is sold in your office, it's a subscription program where like customers, like you buy supplements and they keep sending you the pills or sending you the pre-workouts and stuff like that. They do the same thing with the coffee thing, so you make a little cash. This is when people call Cutco and just say, I want to order. I don't want to talk to Kirsten or some rep or Dylan or anybody. I just want to order some Cutco. And if that person lives in your territory, you get paid on the order when you're a manager. Okay. And then there's e-commerce, basically the same thing. When people, customers nowadays, they'd be so mad right now if we weren't offering them the opportunity to at least buy some Cutco. The only customers that are able to really buy Cutco, well, first of all, they buy online. You all know worst way to buy Cutco on the website cutco.com, because there's no free stuff, there's no deals, you guys understand that. But if someone buys in my territory, if someone buys in Jesse's territory, we do get paid. Over the course of the year, the average district manager makes about $5,000, if not more. on the sales that are happening in their territory when the people buy from the internet. Also, you get monthly bonuses. And the first fall, your first 4 months in the fall campaign, you get double whatever your monthly bonus is. They double it. And then holiday bonuses, we get somewhere between, nowadays it's about $400 to $800. In fact, I was a DM a couple times. I got $1,000 holiday bonus. And then there's when people order from the catalogs in the Christmas season, the company spends about $100 or more $1,000 on catalogs and sends them out to only the inactive, non-practicing reps in the territory. Does everyone understand that? So when a rep goes inactive, that's when their customers start to get some contact from the company, and you make money off that. And then campaign bonuses are anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000. There's 3 campaigns in the company. So first semester, the summer, and the fall semester, essentially those 4 months each periods, anywhere from 3 to 10 grand per each of those 3. So last year I got 3 10K bonuses. I think Jesse got 3 10K bonuses. Might have been 3, a 10, a 10, and a 7. And so that's pretty cool. The trip to Budapest is at least $2,500 that the company spends on the manager to go to Budapest this year, and Ireland last year, or Spain, excuse me, this last year, and the year before that was Ireland. And then every 3 years, there's a bonus check called Super Bonus. I've gotten a bunch of 30K bonuses. I'm getting a 30K bonus this year, and the bonuses are awesome, 20Ks and things like that. And anywhere from 20 to 100 grand. It used to only be 30 grand, and they now have 100K bonuses, 80K bonuses. And then there's some other cool trips and other cool things. So yeah, there you go. Jesse got a 20K bonus last year. So here's something that's kind of fun to look at is an average new manager. First 8 months do about 150 grand. This is good for Shay to look at too, if she's alive, and not tripping out on painkillers. But 150 grand in sales in their first 8 months. Then in 1 year, 12 months, of course they're going to do more because it's 12 months, but that's more than double, right? For only 4 more months. And then from there, they usually go to about 500,000, 600, and almost 650. So they're growing year after year. And this is a pretty long history. What is this? 11 years history. So that's a pretty good sample set. You guys get the idea. Pretty good sample set is the average manager going from year to year to year. What does this mean? Well, do the implications of this, right? If they're revenuing 22% of $650,000, right? There's $120,000, $30,000, $40,000 in income right there, plus all of this stuff below that line. So down here. And you could look at the startup money and say that too. Okay. All right. So district managers, I'll say that our district manager staff in our region has some of the highest results in the company. And this is the central region result. Okay. This is kind of a fun one. 2020, these are the district managers in our company that profited at least 100 grand. District managers in Vector West, I think it was. So these are a whole bunch of district managers that in many cases, 22-year-old. Last year, I think Nick Leindecker profited over 300 grand. I could be wrong. It might have been 250. I think it was 250. Okay. So a number of managers in our company profiting over, there you go, Jesse Jorgensen right there. And that was 5 years ago, 2020.
That's revenue, not profit.
Oh, is revenue?
Yeah, that's rev. Nick hasn't revved over.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. That's great. Okay, summer 2020. Anybody at least thinking differently a little bit, right? What are some opportunities? If not this year, next year, what could it be, right? I think it's worth my time, right? When I was 18 years old, I'm like, I like this, right? Knowing what my opportunities could be. So, again, I want to be very, very clear that we are, your manager and myself, we are very confident that we're talented and you're talented. You wouldn't be here in this room if we didn't think that of you. And so it really happens from preparation. What happens, okay? And over the next 4 to 8 months, I taught Bucky how to run an office from December 15th to April 15th. And he ran a $175,000 branch office. This is in 2002. And that was old school 20 years ago pricing. So the homemaker, I think, was 805. And I taught him in 4 months how to do it. He didn't even start Leadership Academy until December. Remember, I said, who's 4 days old? Who's more than 4 days old in the job? Remember at SC2? Okay, you're all ahead of Hanson. You guys are still 4 months ahead of Bucky. 5 months ahead of Bucky. And you did a $175,000 branch. By the way, I was freaking 12 when I taught him how to do it. I wasn't 12. I was like, it was 2002. So the end of 2001, I was 26. I was 26 years old, have been running an office for about 400 days, 500 days when I taught Bucky how to run an office, and he ran a $175,000 branch. Won a trip to Spain, okay? Didn't go because he went into the military. Preparation, hyper growth, right? I want to keep moving here. 2024 managers, right, will make decisions. I'm sorry, 2025. That should be 2025. Okay, so many years, okay? And then what I say earlier, no decisions yet. So what are we looking for, guys? What we're looking for, I said this in SC2. I changed it up a little bit. We're looking for people that have integrity and follow through. What is integrity? You guys know there's a talk recently about it. But integrity is not just like don't lie or cheat, right? Integrity is doing what you say you're going to do and not doing what you say you won't do. Right? Does everyone get me on that? And so integrity, when someone does the phone time they're supposed to do, when someone does the booking fire they're supposed to do, when someone does, the interview preparation that they're supposed to do, they wind up having great results in life. Remember, it's not just, Cutco, right? Sales consistency, right? You can promote yourself, right? Get to 30%, get to 35, 40, 45, 50, right? You don't have to ask me, right? You can't, Jesse can't stop one of you from getting a pay raise. Is everyone with me on that? Okay, as much as he might hate you, Jesse can't stop you from getting promoted. Okay, Nisa? All right. Write that down, Sheldon. As much as Jesse hates me, he can't stop me. Okay, good. So by the way, I love this is just as important as consistency, but do you get better? If you're at a 7 demo equals $1,000 clip right now, how do you get to 6 and how do you get to 5? CSPs are like, if I do 2 demos, I sell 1,000. So how can you close that gap? Right? There's lots of answers, field training and Champs Club and PDI and PCs and coming to every team meeting, never missing meetings. Those are all things that can help, right? We have 3 push periods left, kind of the year. There's the CFC push, which we're technically in day 2, right? We have all the way till the 12th. Today's the 31st, right? So till the 12th of August, that's a push period. It's an excuse to sell Cutco. I would use the excuse of, I'm going back to school anyway. I might as well treat this push like a push. I might as well make as much money as I can before school starts. Okay. SLC, remember the SLC conference? That's the only push where the entire company is in the exact same competition. And we've won it 2 years in a row. Salt Lake City has won SLC 2 times in a row, last year and the year before that. The goal is let's three-peat, right? Let's three-peat. So Salt Lake City especially. And then last year, I believe Jesse took a trophy. This year, I would be actually not that surprised if Shay took a trophy, if Bucky took a trophy. They're technically in this race in the same competition, I think. And then also Jesse's in the veteran district manager category and Salt Lake City were in the DVM category. So what's cool is that everyone's in the same competition, but they put the DVMs in one, the vets in the other, and the new managers in the other. So there's 3 categories. I would not be surprised if all 4 of our offices didn't trophy, but if none of you work, then we won't trophy. Just so you know, like it's an everybody thing, right? And so we have tons of stories. And by the way, I'll tell you about stories in a second. Yeb is technically a push that happens over the holiday break, year-end banquet push, okay? And that includes a trip to potentially Mexico or somewhere else cool in February. And so, January. And so you want to get ready for all 3 of these pushes. But remember, just think in the back of your mind, CFC's now, SLC's in late September, early October. And then there's technically the Olean push. I didn't even talk about the Olean push. There's 2 weeks. And how about getting a trophy in front of the CEO of the company that's reserving our basketball for us? That would be awesome, right? And then the other thing I want to point out is I said this to Anthony at least once. And I said, how many times in your career as a manager do you think you want to be able to tell the story of the last night of the push selling 2 grand after 9 p.m.? How many times would you like to tell someone that the last 24 hours was like 6 grand? Right? That's a pretty awesome story. Is everyone with me on that? And if you don't have that story, that's okay, because there's this one, and Olean. I should have Olean on this dang slide. Forgot. And then saving money. We expect you to save money. The company's going to give you $6,000 to $22,000. We expect you to save money, right? And you got to save money by selling. The cool thing is if you do this one and this one, you're going to get this one. If you do this one, and this one, you're going to get this one. This one and this one, you'll definitely get this one. You'll definitely get this one. If you're doing this one and this one, you're going to get them together, right? These come together, right? Do this and this, you'll automatically have this, okay? And then I'll talk about letter of commitment, things like that later. I'm on 12 minutes to go. Keep in mind, there's other opportunities besides management, right? And so the more you go through AM and branch and district training, the better of a business owner you'll be, okay? So assistant manager, pay and experience, right? I want to reiterate, I spent all this time talking about branch and district. There's no book like this on being an AM, because AM isn't the goal, right? AM is like the stepping stone to opportunities that are abounding and most valuable to your future. In no way is the AM a bad experience. I did it for 2 years, 2 different divisions and regions. So you learn to run an office, and you learn, again, it's not assistant manager training, because we're going to train you to do the same thing. Branches and assistant managers build the team, run interviews, help reps. Those are the same things that branches and districts do. The districts and branches get paid more. And the AM role is a training position, and it's a stipend, paid internship. It's a preparatory position. So it's a preparatory pay. I said to Lauren, I'm like, I paid more money in gas commuting from Provo to that door than I ever got paid as an AM. I'm like, I'll do it, because I made so much cash as a manager later, right? And it was worth my time. Just like college, you pay for the training, don't you? I'm thinking, right? And so there's multiple different types of assistant managers. Don't even write these down, okay? So we're in the middle of that CFC push, right? And it's going to be an awesome event. You guys already know the details, all of you, right? So it's at the SC1 hotel. So it actually has air conditioning, right? And we got Donut Falls. We're going rappelling. You get the Hearty Slicer. You guys should sign up if you haven't. I don't even know if there's anyone here that's not signed up. I don't know about 1 or 2 of you, maybe. Okay, but I think everyone else is signed up. Remember, it's $125. $125, and you get a Hearty Slicer. The region is like, I can't believe IMD. They're literally like, they're getting like a cheese knife or something like that. And we're able to make the conference a little cheaper by some little tricks of the trades that I know. Okay, there's nothing dishonest or anything, but like, we don't do hotel food at this conference. So we actually save a lot of money, because hotel food's way more expensive and it's not even as good. Okay. And we do the rappelling and everything else, because I have all the equipment, and Jesse and I've been teaching people to do it for like 8 years now. And so we were able to do a lot of cool activities and save you guys a lot of money, which means you get more Cutco out of the deal too. So, it's such a killer discount. You should get signed up for CFC if you haven't yet. And again, write down position of choice really quickly. For time's sake, I want to tell you the story of Joseph and Jared, but for time's sake, I'm not going to tell that. I'm probably going to tell that on a meeting that we have coming up. So I'll tell you about that. I may tell it at CFC. Okay. And to wrap things up, I want to point out, oh, that's so weird. It says I have like 20 some odd slides. Oh, they're junk slides. Oh, sweet. I was like, I don't have 20 more slides. Okay. I'm going to not talk about Joseph and Jared anymore. Or I'm still not going to talk about Joseph. I'm going to save that for CFC. Okay. Just remember, position of choice is you want to have options until April. But I was telling Lauren this earlier. We probably decide where you go, assuming you branch or district. The goal is to decide who goes to where in December. because even if you're not opening until April, if you know where you're going, it's like the letter of commitment for an athlete. They're like, yep, I'm signing off on, I'm going to Alabama, I'm going to this school, going to that school. Now their future is even more sure because now they're like, I'm buying the shirt, I'm going to buy the gear, I'm going to go, and I'm going to like commit, I'm going to do the workouts that the coach gives me, I'm going to do all this stuff, and then I'm going to arrive to school, right? And that's what happens when you write your letter of commitment. That's what happens when we say, all right, you're going to Layton, or you're going to Park City, or you're going to Casper, or you're going to wherever. When I was a branch manager, I didn't care where I went, although I had a family, so I kind of had to make the decision. If I was single, I'd be like, dude, put me on Mars. We'll make sure we sell Cutco. Like it would have been such a great adventure, right? And you want to be in that position where it doesn't matter, right? So what are we making as far as considerations? We are looking to fill, there's an entire division. Just yesterday or a couple days ago on the division manager call, they literally were like, yeah, Intermountain Division is probably going to fill the Big Sky division. And frankly, I put managers in Boston and LA and Iowa. I put managers in Walla Walla, Washington, Tri-Cities, Washington. So these are territories. We have had managers that literally go from landlocked somewhere America and run an office in Hawaii. So if there's a place that you're like, I need to go there anyway, or I want to go there, or it's my dream, you should probably save 10 grand or 15 or 20 grand to get to be that top guy or girl that wants to go somewhere that you've got a little extra cash, that type of thing to show the region manager or anything where that you're the right guy. But you guys can see some of these territories are full. You guys already know that. There's some of these that are full, obviously, SLC, and we got Provo and the different offices and things like that. But that doesn't mean things don't change. There was a time I almost moved to Des Moines, Iowa. Okay. And then I didn't. And then Salt Lake City became open. So I moved from Provo to Salt Lake, but small move. But there was a time I almost moved to Iowa for various reasons. And, there's options anywhere. But there's a lot of territories that are open. And for us to grow to be a $5 million division, not only do we need the managers of 2025, we need the managers that will become the managers of 2026, 2027, branch, long-term, district managers, longer term, right? What are the opportunities moving on, not just in one summer, but in the next summer and things like that. So a couple things, how to stay in a position of choice. So here's a couple notes and then we'll wrap things. Okay, guys? So how to stay in a position of choice. I would take a note or 12 in the next like 5 minutes. How's that, guys? Number one thing is you want to imagine everyone here is in a position of choice right now. Everyone starts with an A. Just make sure you're coming to events, you're selling and saving, and that you're working with me. If you don't have a weekly one-on-one with me yet, we want to get that started. Okay, especially if you're a paid assistant manager already and you're already on board, and some of you are like, can we just move along 8 months so I can just run my office, Phil? Okay, and you're like that committed. You're not that skilled yet, but you're that committed maybe. Or if you're not in that position, that's okay. That's why you want to do these things. So attend these manager events and also communicate with your manager and sell and save. Next thing is I want you to take this website. If you want to write it down, it might be the easiest thing. And you know what? We have a new link. I hope this is the right link. Jesse, can you try that? Or Shay? I'm sorry, or Kirsten, will you try that link real quick? TaylorProtocolsInc.com. I think we just recently found the right link, and this might be a new link that I forgot to add in here. It used to be the right. TaylorProtocolsInc.com.
No, you need the one that says gift CVI or something like that.
Yeah, right. So just write down, take your CVI test. It's going to give you a it's kind of like your yellow, red. You guys know those personality assessments, right? And I think Anthony and Staley, you've done that already. So it might show up in the chat box. Jesse might find it, okay? And if Jesse finds it, that's glorious. Okay. Oh, what did I do? That's what I did. Okay. All right. So you're gonna get you'll get a screen that looks like this, and you should send that to us. That's a perfect human being. Everybody, just so you know, in case you're wondering, that's a perfect human being right there on the screen. Kirsten, Jesse, perfect human being right there. Okay, if you didn't know that. Okay. So some of you are understanding the joke right now, but that's okay.
That's funny.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, sell Cutco, right? This week, you guys know you sell $1,000. Don't forget that, guys. Man, you never know. What would $1,000 in your startup money look like? Some of you guys are like, that's how I get to Olean, Phil, right? And so as we go, I want to just point out, make sure today you're booking demos. Okay, you may not book demos tonight, but make sure we get that going. Here's what I'll tell you. Your outcome, your purpose, and your massive action. First, you got to know your outcome of August. What do you want to make? What do you want to sell? What is the purpose behind those? Startup money. I want to be a branch manager. I got to earn Olean. I got to do this. I got to make more money to pay for books, pay tuition, pay my new apartment, right? And then you got to take massive action because some of you, it's guys, when you're making 30%, it's like all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I got $1,000 paycheck. That's pretty cool, right? You had a $900 paycheck, right? 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So that felt pretty good. And you weren't even at 35% yet. You know what I mean? So, and then get ready to be making 30 and 35 and 40% during school. So awesome, right? So here's one you want to take screenshot of. Okay. And again, this is a screenshot where you need to, oh, there's the link in the thing for the CVI. Okay. Take a screenshot because we have some events coming up. These are well, this is the division conference, right? What the heck? Oh, the push is going on right now. Yeah. Okay. Then we have intro to leadership. Here we are today, right? And then C of C is the 12th and the 13th, right? Olean is the 19th through the 22nd. The SLC push is the 94 or 9/24 to the 7th. And then we have the year-end banquet in Chicago. So it's a good idea to like let your mom and dad or whoever know you're going to Chicago in January. Then we have, this is really goofy. I don't know what that is. Okay. And then these events you need to write down for sure. Okay. Or put in your phone and then put in your calendar. Remember, if you just took a screenshot, please be that guy or girl that takes the screenshot, looks at it, puts it in the calendar, puts it in the calendar. Don't just have a screenshot that you'll never look at. Actually use the screen and then delete the photo. You don't need the photo. Okay. You need to put these things in your calendar. So Friday, the 6th of September, 3rd of October, 11th, the 1st of November. We have 3 Friday afternoon / evening. The probability is that we'll go do an activity afterwards at 8 p.m. on those Friday nights. Okay, guys. And then there's going to likely be, we used to do 2 in December. Excuse me, 2 activities in December. Okay. This one's right after Thanksgiving. This one's right after finals, right after Thanksgiving, right after finals. Those of you that might be, some of you will be back in town from Cedar City, from Logan. You'll be back in town. So that's why we want to have you guys have those in your calendars. Okay. You'll be back from the different towns you go to school in. And then right after finals, right before Christmas. Okay. So again, have all these dates. And then the last thing I'll say is we'll have Friday conference calls. Special club. Yeah, we already know you guys are doing interview champs clubs, right? In the morning, 9 to 9:30. In the morning, we're already doing that. So a lot of you have been on, like 6 of 8 of you are going to be usually on every morning, which is great. Tomorrow morning, I'll say, Kirsten, you're probably going to take the lead tomorrow morning because we're running training. Maybe Patrick, maybe Shay will be in there too with you tomorrow morning, but that'll be happening tomorrow because I'll be running training tomorrow. And then lastly, I want to mention a weekly division Leadership Academy call. Then you'll also work on having a leadership meeting in your office. So just Southern Rockies, just Salt Lake North or Salt Lake or Provo, you'll start having a weekly meeting in your office. Okay. I'm going to move on from that. 2025, we're growing to 10 plus offices. We had 5 this summer. Random arrow. Okay. 50. Oh, what the heck is that? Okay, 50 leaders, guys, 10 offices, we should have 50 leaders because 10 out of those 50, and then 40 leadership roles of assistant managers, division office managers, assistant managers, and that type of thing, and become a national contending division. I want to just mention, what are these arrows? Okay. I'm gonna recognize the startup numbers in our division really quickly. I don't have those on a slide. I wanted to just bring them up real time with everybody here. And so it's not going to be on the screen. Sorry for those of you that are not in the office here or anyone because you're not seeing what I'm seeing. But here's what I will say. In the division right now in startup money, again, for potentially earning a trip to Olean for that matter, Cheyenne's got $175, let alone the fact that this doesn't count the paychecks that are being issued tomorrow. right? This is only up till last week. Cheyenne's got $175 saved. Abby's got $135 saved. Let's see. Kirsten, almost $1,000. Braden's got $75 saved, just started saving. $630 for Nisa and sold a bunch of Cutco last week. Livy's got almost $1,000. Well, you're at $450 now, but you're putting away $450 this week. And then Lauren's almost $1,000. With this week, you'll be easily over $1,000 with your push period report. Staley at $45.91. With this week, you'll be over maybe $6,000. Right, or something like that, $5,500 likely. Connor at $3,200. Again, you'll probably break 4,000, I would think, tomorrow, based on your push period report. So what? Did they say 5,000? Oh, say Connor. Anthony, excuse me. Oh, Connor's right there. You're at 5,700, Anthony. Yeah. So I looked at the wrong. Yeah. So 5,700 for Anthony. That's awesome. Kirsten's at 8,000 plus. She has about half of her or more of her startup money left from this summer branch. So she's at 11,000 likely, if not 12,000. Patrick's at $14,700 in sales. That's hot stuff. Okay. And so as I wrap up, I just want to say thank you to everybody. And now what just happened? Okay. Right here. And I will go to here. I'm going to mention rankings and then I'll kick you guys out of here with some assignments. How's that? Okay. Just really fast. So play. All right. So rankings. What rankings are what we consider who is in the best position of choice. Who is in the best position where that guy, that girl deserves the best territory. The best territory is never always perfectly accurate because, oh man, this manager crushed it. They weren't in the #1 territory, but the manager themselves is the reason why the office did well anyway. But usually the people that develop 8 or 9 months of showing me they're the best candidate, they're going to be put in the best position of opportunity, right? Is everyone with me on that? So this helps us determine who goes where and what type of opportunities they have. Is personal sales, saving money. What are your interview results as a young manager? What are your training seminar results? What's your attitude and professionalism and how do you show up, right? What's your growth? Someone who starts at a lower level, but they grow it bigger, they grow their talents, if you will, bigger. They're definitely in a better position. And then finally, my end all judgment of how this person's really communicating and how they are and how coachable they are based on our calls, right? Based on our relationship. Okay. And then finally, I'm just going to say, take a screenshot of this puppy. I'd love to have everybody. I just need more friends on Instagram. Okay. So if you guys would all friend me and follow me and all that stuff. And I want to be able to see what's going on in your lives. Right. So friend and like me or whatever the thing is called, right? Follow me, whatever. Start singing a song here. Okay. Also, if you want to change or upgrade your withholdings, right? If you're like, Phil, I'm making 20%, I'm making 30% now, I can start saving a little more aggressively. Start upgrading your withholdings. Send that CVI test. And by the way, those of you that are in the office, let me hit the screenshot or the chat box, because right here, just text me right now. Text me and say, send me CVI. Okay, send me CVI because I'll put it in my text real quick. And I'm going to leave this up there for 10 more seconds. So get your screenshot. Sign up for CFC, right? Role play the interview, selling and saving, working on campus in the next couple of weeks, and start your growth plan to be in a position of choice for summer 2025. Right? Okay, excellent. I know that guy, Kirsten. Hi, there he is. What's up, dude? Okay, so anyway, excellent job today. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate all of your attention, energy, and effort. And let's keep growing this thing, guys. And I'm going to stop the recording. Oh, yes.